What is up, ladies and gents? In today's video, we're going to be talking all about ADA and why I believe we could see a major pump in the near future here on ADA. Of course, I'll also be giving you my shorter term price predictions as well as my long-term 2025 price target here for ADA. So be sure to stay tuned for all of that. I just want to add as well that I've got a little bit of a cold at the moment, so if I do sound a little bit stuffy or unclear, I do apologize. If you have any questions or didn't understand something, let me know down in the comments and I'll try and get back to all of you. And of course, if you're looking for a great place to buy or trade ADA, then look no further than the MEX exchange. This is the exchange that I've been using since the very start, and some of the reasons for that is because it has some of the lowest fees on the market. It doesn't require KYC to get started trading and buying ADA. So if you do want to support this channel, then click in the link in the description down below. You'll get this page where you just have to fill in your details, press sign up, and just like that, you can start trading ADA. So again, guys, thank you so much for supporting the channel, and let's get started with this video. So back onto the ADA chart now, and we're going to start off with some of the shorter term things, what's happened to it recently, and all that sort of stuff. So looking at the chart now, of course, unless you've been living under a rock for the past 2 months or so, since the presidential elections, things in crypto have gone absolutely crazy. We've seen beautiful pumps across the board, not just for ADA, but for pretty much every crypto. XRP was one of the biggest gainers from the top market caps, gaining a 6x in the space of just a month. And with ADA, things are still looking pretty impressive. It's hit over a 4x from the bottom there just before the election results all the way to its top just a week ago. And now for the past few weeks, it seems like we've been consolidating in this area. Now, of course, we've done 4x, like I say, on ADA. So firstly, congratulations to everyone who held from the bottom all the way to up here. You definitely deserve all your wins. But I do not think we are quite done yet. I do think there's definitely a lot of space for ADA to continue, for ADA to go much further up. And in this video, obviously, I'll be explaining why. But first, let's talk about this consolidation period that we're seeing here on the screen right now. Of course, like I say, prices are consolidating, which means we start to see the price kind of bouncing between two sorts of trend lines. And in this case for ADA, we are seeing this pattern here. Now, you might think this is some sort of triangle, but actually, after such a parabolic move upwards, this is typically more of a pennant. And a pennant is a bit different from a triangle because a pennant is a bullish chart pattern. A triangle could be bullish or bearish depending, and it depends where it breaks out. But with a pennant, we only see a bullish move stemming from it as well. And the price target for such a pennant, once we break out, isn't just the distance between the test of support and resistance. It's actually the distance of the flagpole leading into the pennant, which gives us a much more bullish price target that we can expect to see if this pennant is to be respected. Now, of course, depends where we break out from this pennant. But let's say we break out for Christmas Day, get a beautiful Santa rally in for Cardano, then we could potentially see a price target there of $2.81. But wherever we break out from, that is an 154% trade. That is a mega trade if this is to happen. Now, of course, I do have conviction in the fact that we're seeing a pennant, but what will make me even more convinced if I go on the 1 hour chart is that we see a clear breakout from this pennant. Now, it's clear to me that this support line is very well established. Just look how the price interacts with it as both a support multiple times across this price here, as well as a resistance a bit previously on before we came into this pennant. So very strong support. The resistance as well is looking pretty good. In an ideal world, what will give me more conviction is if we see the price do something like this, where actually we test the resistance a few more times before breaking out, and maybe even a retest once we see that breakout. So seeing more tests of this resistance line where the price comes up to it and gets rejected by it would give me more conviction in the fact that we could be seeing this pennant in play. Now, of course, another thing that we want to see as well is a clear breakout from this trend line. So when we do get up there and it's ready to break out, what we need to see is a lot of momentum pushing Cardano up. We don't want to see something like this where it's just kind of teetering along a little bit and slowly going upwards, because then there's a bigger chance of failure for this pattern. So what we want to see is a lot of momentum breaking past that trend line, and then we know we can resume up here on Cardano. Now, one thing I do want to point to as well, which might give you some more conviction for Cardano to reach those targets and beyond, is the fact that we've seen this kind of price history on Cardano before. So just looking back on the Cardano chart, for example, is interesting to me, because this region here, this kind of price data that we're seeing right now with this consolidation, reminds me of what I'm seeing here on Cardano. There's an uncanny similarity to the kind of price information that we're receiving here as to what we're seeing over here. We made one high here, as you can see. We made even a higher high, and then we had a sharp rejection in two cases. You can see, made one high, had a sharp rejection, made a higher high, and then had another sharp rejection after that. And if you look over here, this is exactly what we saw back here. We had one high, we had quite a sharp rejection. You can see that red candle taking it quite low there. We made a higher high in this instance, and we had another sharp rejection after that. And what happened after is just beautiful. You see that we went from 30 cents at the low down there to this level here, which is at basically the $1 mark. Of course, as soon as it got over that $1 mark, you can see this massive drop for some reason. I don't know why that could, but it potentially had something to do with the fact that actually that $1 mark is quite significant, because if we go back in time, that was actually close to where the all-time high was. It was actually, yeah, look, $1.30 was the 2017 all-time high there for Cardano. So of course the price is pumped basically to its previous all-time high. Actually got rejected just before its previous all-time high, but the point still stands. After we saw this structure, we saw a massive up back to its previous all-time high. And now if we look at the region that we are in right now, what do you guys actually notice? The price is literally teetering back on its 2018 all-time high. And since we're seeing similar price data, and the fact that we're seeing that pennant, that could be a very good sign that once we do break out, that we can predict that the price of Cardano is actually going to try and head back to its 2021 all-time high. And obviously that was just over the $3 mark. So we're in a very interesting area right now, because it really does look like history is repeating itself. We are also seeing a chart pattern here with a $2.80 price prediction, 150% trade if you're looking to trade that. And we've also got its previous all-time high there at $3.08. So in my opinion, that's two extremely strong things here, pointing towards the fact that we're going to see a crazy leg up here on Cardano in the future, in the near future, maybe even in the coming weeks. Of course, like I say, if I draw that pennant back on the screen, it doesn't give us much time for the Cardano price to make its mind up. Have a look at this. If I draw it back on the screen and we look at where the deadline is, which is obviously where the end of the pennant is, price has to do something. It can't just keep on going forever because the pennant ends. That there gives Cardano a price target of start of January 2025. That's literally when Cardano has to do something and either break out of the resistance, which is what we'd expect to see from a pennant, or if something wrong happens, then break down from the support. But the nice thing is that the deadline is soon. So literally we could see some seriously juicy action here on Cardano. So very, very exciting to look out for. Obviously, I'm literally going to be checking this chart, and I suggest you do too as well. Obviously, if the prices come down near support, we want to be literally eyes on the chart to see what happens there. Same with the prices going back to this resistance in the pennant. Keep your eyes on what happens there and look to see if there's any breakouts coming. So exciting stuff, but that isn't all I have to say here on Cardano. Another thing that I noticed, I always love to do this because the Fibonacci levels are weirdly well respected by a lot of these crypto charts, and Cardano is no exception. We just draw the Fibonacci levels from where the pump started to where the pump has currently got to, and you can see that some of the levels are pretty well respected. For example, price came up to the 0.5 fib in this instance, consolidated back down to 0.382. Not perfectly, obviously, guys, but it gives us some vague indication as where we may see supports and resistances in Cardano's journey upwards. And in this case, it gave us some nice indications along the way up to where we are now. And if this continues, I do believe we can see some of the price targets hit on the extended fib levels up here. So like I say, if we break out, we could see some resistance first and foremost at this 1.272 fib, $1.90. Next fib up is $2.35. And the fascinating thing to me is that most important fib, 1.618, the final fib from this series, lies just above the previous all-time high of Cardano. So let me reiterate, the first price target that we have from this pennant here is taking us to $2.85. The previous all-time high is at $3.08. We're seeing pretty much the same price information in this region as we saw back at the end of 2020, and now we're seeing fib levels predicting the 1.618 fib at $3.10, just over the previous all-time high. Is that a coincidence or what? To me, that is extremely beautiful, and that should give you a lot more confidence. That should give you a lot more conviction here in Cardano for prices to really shoot up to that $3 region. Now, of course, this is slightly more short-term stuff, but if I'm looking at the longer term here on Cardano, of course, we don't have much price information to go off of. Once we get past its previous all-time high, it's all price discovery, but we can take kind of an estimate as to how high Cardano can go. And for that, what I'd like to do is to see how much the 2021 all-time high was above the 2017 all-time high down there. And of course, we can just measure that on here, 137%. And let's take that 137%, place it above the previous all-time high. And there, ladies and gentlemen, we get what we could potentially have as a longer term price target here on Cardano. That's $7.30, and that's roughly around a 7x as to where we are now, which I believe would put Cardano at around a $280 billion market cap. So that is still within the realm of possibility, particularly with these bull market valuations. Everything's going to be going up, and at 280 billion currently, I believe, let's just have a look. At the moment, that would be number 3, but we have to remember that things like XRP, in my opinion, are going to be of at least 280 billion at the peak of the bull market. Solana, I do believe, is also going to get there. BNB probably might get there. So there's definitely going to be some coins above the $280 billion market cap at that point. So in my opinion, Cardano, very possible that we can get to that $7.30 mark here as well. Of course, it happened the last bull cycle, and of course this bull run, there's so much bullish news for crypto, so I do not see a reason why this would not be possible. So that's basically all I have to say here on Cardano. Thank you guys so much for watching. Obviously, let me know if you're holding Cardano down in the comments and what your price targets are, and otherwise, have a really nice rest of your day.